Hello, I'm Frank McSheen with Square Peg Consulting at the Whiteboard. I'm a supply chain cash guide, and these are the components of the business-to-business supply chain as I see it. And there are opportunities to generate more cash in every part of this process. Let me show you what I mean. Hello, in today's session, we're going to talk about an aspect of the planning part of our B2B supply chain framework, as well as the move part, focused on what I call not-in-time inventory. Over the past couple of decades, companies have shifted more towards what's called just-in-time inventory, reducing the level of inventory, making sure you get what you need right at the time you need it. And that works great as long as there's a reliable supply. Unfortunately, in the pandemic, we learned that there's not a reliable supply. And we kept having to recalculate, replan, push things out. So this approach is designed to reduce the need for that. It's a little bit of a pendulum swing back away from just-in-time inventory. And we start with an analysis of our items, inventory items, based on annual dollar usage. So that's the forecasted volume of an item times its standard cost. That gives you an annual dollar usage for that particular item. And we sort those from highest annual dollar usage down to lowest. And not surprisingly, we're going to find that 20% of the items, just like we found with our customers, generate 80% of that annual dollar usage. And similarly, we're going to find probably around 30% of our items will account for the next 15% of the annual dollar usage. And that last 50% of the items that we carry in inventory, we're going to see that they only generate the last 5% of the annual dollar usage. Now that doesn't mean they're low value items, because one of these items, even though it's a small dollar impact over here, if you're out of it when you need it, can have a huge impact. So we want to take a look at each of these segments. And the way we want to look at each segment is in terms of how unpredictable is the demand and how difficult to get is that item, which could be long lead times, uncertainty of supply. It's in a foreign country. We're not sure, we don't have control over the producer enough. It's a commodity item. Other people are competing for that. So things that can make things more difficult to get. Let's start with these lower dollar impact items. We'll call these the C items. So for C items, we do a quick analysis of these. Even though there are a lot of items, you want to just do a quick analysis. It doesn't take a lot of math. Just decide, is the demand for it unpredictable, and is it difficult to get? Even if that's the case, we want to have plenty. Okay, if it's unpredictable demand and hard to get, we want to have plenty. And having too much is a lot less of a problem than not having it when you need it. So you may have 6 months worth of that, or even a year's worth of these items here. If it's very predictable and easy to get, then we have zero inventory. If it's available just down the street or a very short lead time, we know when the demand's coming, we can plan ahead, no need for any inventory. So that's for C items. For that next category, similarly, the B items, we're going to say how predictable and how difficult to get, and take a similar approach to them without having to do too much analysis for these B items. Again, we're going to look to see how unpredictable and difficult to get. And here we want to have enough, not necessarily plenty, but have enough. So we may have 3 months supply, a quarter up to 6 months or so. C items, maybe 6 months up to a year. But we want to have plenty here. Again, it's only 15% of the annual dollar usage. It's going to cost us a lot more if we don't have it when we need it. And once again, if it's predictable and pretty easy to get, you have less inventory or zero. Sorry about that. Less inventory or zero. That takes care of it for the B. Now we get to the A items, which are the ones that really have the biggest dollar impact. And there we need a more careful analysis of each one of them to see exactly where they fit. Because the A items make a big impact financially, and they're probably key to our production and to our customer service levels. So for A items, we want to be really careful about how predictable, how forecastable, how easy to see the demand is going to be going. If it's pretty easy down here, then again, we have less, but we want to have some because they are a key part of our business. Again, we're going to have the most inventory up here where we have unpredictable demand. It's hard to get, long lead times, uncertainty of supply. Let's make sure we're covered. So in the pandemic, both of these were true. Highly unpredictable and difficult to get. Because our customers were also suffering through the same process, and their demand was unpredictable. It cascades back to us. If you recall, we're looking at the customer's customer. So uncertainty here causes uncertainty here. It spills back into our framework. So we want to make sure we're covered here. Where we have highly unpredictable, but pretty easy to get down on this scale, then we have some inventory. Again, I'm not going to be too precise, but based on the lead time, you might double that lead time and have that cushion in place. But you're going to be typically less than 3 months, down to a week, maybe days of inventory. And same thing on here. If it's difficult to get, but pretty easy to predict, then we want to have some cushion for those A items so we don't get caught unprepared when the demand spikes up. Thank you.